Sir, you are on mute.
Sipal sir, unmute yourself kindly.
A very good evening to all the delegates present here, the learned speakers, as well as the panelists on the ring side. Today, we are having an interactive session on the impact of 5G in daily life. This is one of under the series of understood and understand and be understood series of our interactive session. I'm sure the delegates will be able to enjoy this interactive session. Let me introduce Nisbat in a few words. Raised in 1990, about 3 decades ago, it started its training activities in the field of security, safety, management, and applied technology. We also imparted training to the retired Defense Force personnel for their second career in the private security industry. With the passage of time, we had introspection and thought of upgrading the institution to a national, rather global level. We started thinking of having some scholar cell, some webinars, and some research cell. With this aim in view, we divided Nisbat into four sections. The Nisbat Forum to organize webinars, seminars, interactive sessions, debates, and prize distributions, award functions, etc. Nisbat Academy to conduct virtual training programs, assessments, certification, etc. And then we come to Nisbat Enterprise, that was to undertake audits and verification and to establish partnership and alliances at international level. The Nisbat Foundation is the fourth segment or fourth section to undertake welfare and social work for the society at large, so as to help the people understand the reference and requirement of safety and security as per present day scenario in the world. Then let me say a few words about the chairman. The chairman, Captain Pamanjeet Ahluwalia, took voluntary retirement at a very young age from parachute regiment of the army and jumped into an unknown area of business career. His warmth, I'll call it, and a contagious, sort of personality who wins over almost everyone with whom he comes in contact. He was able to bring about the best in his people and his associates. Almost has an internal sense, I would say, to find out a silver lining in a particular situation. Person of impeccable manner and style, courage and conviction, thoughtful and inspiring. As a leader, he has created a business group under the name of Ahluwalia Holding Company, which has offices at multiple locations in India and abroad. He was the past president and former chairman of Council of International Investigations, USA, and is an awardee of Malcolm Thompson Award and Kotalia Award by the Council of International Investigation. Shri Pamanjeet Ahluwalia shall moderate this session. Let me say a few words about the subject as such, today's subject, the impact of 5G in daily life. 5G, as all of us know, is the 5th generation of cellular network. This is reported to be 100 times faster than 4G. Now, and shall create tremendous opportunities for everyone. Faster connectivity, greater bandwidth shall transform the working in all business enterprises. It will dramatically enhance the day-to-day functioning in every walk of life. The evolution of 5G from 1G, when we used to carry a brief size, I told the other day, telephone with us, to 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G, which is going to be less than even your pocket size probably. 5G, which is going to be launched in our country, it has already been launched in various other places in the world. It's going to reshape our professional and personal lives. Now imagine billions of connected devices gathering and sharing information in a real lifetime situation. You just imagine what will happen. It will result in reduction of road accident, they say, because they are connected from one place to other, wherever the vehicles are going, and are able to determine where is the danger, where is the disaster, where is this thing. So road accidents will come. Increase in the sort of safer flights. Flights are dangerous. Increase in the safety of the flights. Smarter electricity grids. Connectivity of vehicles by sharing data. Anticipation and warning of national disasters. Then, of course, nowadays is a very, very famous sort of thing that is drones. The drone services to support emergency situations and situational responses. Of course, remote access to powerful robots for improved safety in risky environment will also be available to us. But this but is more important from us, the normal general people. It is reported to have adverse impact on the health. Exposure to electromagnetic fields are classified as carcinogenic, cancerous. Tissue heating on the human body, they say, that gives indirect rise to the temperature in the brain and may set in radioactive waves and cause damage to the electrical activity of the brain, which is already there, that may cause damage to the already existing electricity. It is also said that it may cause increase of heartbeat and blood pressures. The long-term effect, they say, can lead to tumors, skin diseases, etc. However, nothing conclusive has yet come to the fore. The research done till today does not have any consistent evidence about this effect. The question is how far this research is inhibited, is not going at full speed as far as the environmental factors are concerned, is not known to us. Let us listen to the speaker, Dr. Poonam Lohan, who is an expert in this field, as to what she has to say and what she has to explain about the 5G. With these words, I hand over the proceedings to Shri Pawanjit Helwalia.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I start with talking a bit about the sponsors of our event today. We have two companies that sponsored the event, and one is Tag Scores, which is an examinations platform, and Premier Consulting and Investigations Private Limited, which is a pre-employment screening and a general investigations company. The event is also supported by HubSpot, which is a software for customer relations management, GMD Cargo, Premier Shield Private Limited, a manpower security manpower company, and India Skills Private Limited, a company that partners the government of India for its examinations. We also have advertising opportunities on Nismet. So please contact the Nismet office for its advertising opportunities. We have participants today from the following countries: India, Bangladesh, Guyana, New Zealand, UK, USA, and Zambia. On another note, I just want to also add that from 12th of November onwards, we are also starting another series in the webinars, which is called Defense and Homeland Security, in which we'll be touching on subjects that impact the defense of of the countries and the homeland security of nations at large. The first subject of the webinar is growth of terrorism in global society, which will be on the 12th of November. I'd also like to share a few words about our illustrious president, Mr. Sipal Singh. He's a master's in English literature and has served the government of India in very senior police positions across the length and breadth of our country. He was the founder to raise the Rapid Action Force in India, and he was also its first chief. He would later also raise the Internal Security Academy, which is a central police academy at Mount Abu in Rajasthan. During his distinguished service, he was decorated with the President's Police Medal for Meritorious Service, for Distinguished Services, the Police Duty Special Duty Medal with Bar, a Sena Medal, and other commendations and rewards. Post-retirement, he worked as a consultant with the Tata Iron and Steel Company, and was assigned the responsibility to streamline the security and vigilance matters in the coalfield division of TISCO to prevent losses to this division. He's also been the chairman of the Technical Committee of Quality Control of India, which formulated the standards for star rating of private security companies. Earlier, he was also involved in developing the curriculum for private security guards training under the Security Sector and Skill Development Council. He was the head of the committee which designed and worked out national occupational standards for the training of private security guards and qualification pack and the national occupation standards for the firefighters. He was awarded the Security Personality of the Year award by the President of India in 2009. He is currently the advisor to the Asian Professional Security Association, the Indian chapter, and the Honorary Director General to CAPSI, which is the Central Association of Private Security Industry in India, and also the Association of Private Detectives and Investigators. Mr. Sipal's face is well known in India as a dynamic security professional. He is frequently called upon to share his views on various subjects connected to homeland security on national news channels. Now it is my distinct privilege and honor to introduce Dr. Poonam Lohan. She is one of the most educated and highly skilled ladies in our country. She has expertise in wireless communications, digital communications, data networks, computer communication networks, convex optimization, signals and systems, information theory, error control coding, detection and estimation theory. She has a PhD, that's a doctorate degree in electrical engineering from IIT Delhi, where she passed out with a CGPA of 8.15 upon 10. Excellent rating. Earlier, she did her MTech in Electronics and Communications Engineering from NIT Kurukshetra. She's a gold medalist from this university and scored a CGPA of 9.25 on 10 from this university when she passed out. In a graduate aptitude test in engineering, she scored 99.7 percentile. She has 5 years of explored shared experience in doing research in IIT Delhi in the field of performance analysis and resource allocation in heterogeneous cellular networks. She's also worked in the UAV-assisted wireless communication networks. She's vastly experienced in software designing and consulting for instrument cluster of four-wheeler and in an automotive industry. Since 2019, she is teaching and lab conducting in reputed universities. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Poonam Lohan. Unmute yourself.
So good evening, everyone. And first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this interactive session. So my name is Poonam Lohan, and currently I'm working as a faculty at Punjab Engineering College, that is in Chandigarh, in the Electronics and Communication Department there. And as I told, my research area is in the wireless communication domain. So in today's talk, I just want to discuss about the 5G technology and how we are going to implement it. What is the key features of the 5G technology? And just a minute. And my talk will be divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we will discuss about the history of the cellular technologies, means how these generations are evolving from 1G to 5G and what is the need of that evolution. So we will go through that. In the second part of my talk, we will discuss all the applications, what this 5G will going to provide to us and what are the challenges in the implementing or what are the effect of this 5G in our daily life. And in the third part, we will discuss that as a country, India, what we are going to contribute in the development of 5G. What is the progress going on in our country? So we will discuss that also. So in the starting itself, to discuss about the history of generations, in the first generation of the cellular network, it started in 1980. So firstly, we have to understand that we are talking about the wireless technology, right? There is wired technology also, means backhaul we are providing throughout the world. We are providing backhauls to the fiber cables, and under the sea also fiber cables are deployed to connect complete world. But after this connectivity, when we are coming towards the wireless communication, so how much performance enhancement and experience enhancement we can do with the data rate and how it is done. So that's why we are improving our generation to the technology enhancement, right? So we are talking about the wireless technology. That is fine when we are talking about the towers. Towers are connected with the fiber cables to the data centers. Where are the data centers? But from the data centers, how we are providing this information to the users that we have to.
Please mute yourselves. There's noise coming in and disturbing the speaker.
So when we are talking about the first G, that was totally an analog system, and that was for the voice services, right? Here we could not send any type of data, any type of messages. We could not send. We can just talk, and you can see the size of mobile phones also there. So that was the complete analog technology, and 3 main contenders were there: AMPS, NMT, and the TEX. TEX was from UK and AMPS from US. So from all these 3 technologies, we know AMPS better, right? Because from all these contenders, there was the overwhelming response of the AMPS, and throughout the world, this technology was adopted, and it was the analog technology. In this, we were using the FDMA, frequency division multiple access. So now also we are using FM radios. So there, because you can see the radio jockeys are talking, so we are just conveying the voice signal, right? So FM. So in the starting, we were using this FM FDMA technique. And if we will talk about its capacity, because in the analog communication, we can't just discuss about the speed, but just to take a correlation between the performance, we can say that its speed was up to 2.4 kbps. Now in the current scenario here, we are talking in terms of 1 gbps, gigabits per second. So its data speed was very low, and poor security was there, and it was the battery life also was very poor of these mobile phones. Even though we were able to go mobile, that was a big achievement, right? So, but we could not stay here itself on the voice basis. So we wanted to go for the data transmits. We want to send message. So if we can remember that in the starting when we were sending the message, that were very costly. That was very costly. So slowly we were moving towards the second generation, where after a decade or just in 1919, we started towards the digital communication. That is a digital communication, right? And there the GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication, that is a European standard that was implemented throughout the world, right? Here, what we were able to do, we were able to increase the data speed, means from 1 kbps to we could go up to the 64 kbps, right? And here we were able to send the text messages and multimedia messages. And slowly in this generation itself, by changing the technology, there are very famous technology, GPRS, CDMA-H, we were able to increase the data speed up to 144 kbps. And with this, we were able to do the email web browsing. But the speed was not, even after that, the speed was not much enough. And we were calling it as a voice-based technology itself. So there was the need of improvement or increasing the data speed here, right? So then we moved towards the 3G technology, 3G cellular technology. So we were just here, if we will see that we were using the different spectrum band and we were enhancing on our modulation schemes, our technology, our transmission capacity. So we were working on those criteria. So if we are talking about here, the CDMA, this is the wideband code division multiple access techniques, means how we are using our resources, spectrum, how efficiently we are using so that we can increase our speed, high speed packet access. So these were the main technology for the 3G. And from here to generate, because we want to enhance the speed globally. So 3GPP was 3GPP is an organization. It is also known as the third generation partnership project, in which all countries all around the world came together to implement the specification, means to enhance the technology, means how we can reach up to these high speed or high data rate demands. So with this, we were able to reach up to 2 Mbps, right? And mobile, we were able to use the TV on the mobiles and video streaming we were able to do, or we can say that our smartphone era just started in the 2000. And that was a very good technique here that was developed or introduced by China. That was the time division synchronous CDMA. Means here time division duplexing we were able to use. That is a very breakthrough technology to enhance the data rate. So, but with this, what was happening in the world, that it was okay that we were able to stream the video, we were watch the mobile TV, but with this, iPhone came into picture, and with that YouTube came into picture. So you can see that on the YouTube, there's many videos are there, and we just all want to see that, watch that. And Facebook also came. So these all applications were very data hungry applications, right? So this data, what it is provided by the 3G cellular, that was not enough. So there was the requirement or need to totally change the structure of the cellular system. So if we will go, that there was the incremental advancement in from 1G to 2G, 3G, but in the 4G, if we will see, the completely structure of the cellular system was changed. So LTE and WiMAX then came into picture, right? WiMAX was developed by the Intel, and the LTE mostly was developed by the Qualcomm. So, but again, LTE win over the WiMAX, and LTE is globally known as the 4G technology, LTE advanced, right? And with this, we were able to enable the frequency division duplexing also, right? So now our data speed went up to the 10 Mbps, and we were able to send our voice also as a data packets. So here we were not, even when we are talking about the voice, it was converted into data, right? In the starting, it was analog and it was mainly based on the voice, but now everything is becoming as a data, digital data. And we were sending the voice also over the internet protocols. So in the fourth generation, it is happening. And we are using 4G. So we are able to stream videos, we were able to make video conferencing now also we are doing. So by using this 4G technology, we were able to do everything. But what was the need of 5G, right? So 5G was mainly, when we are talking about 4G, 4G was not mainly intended with the very massive connection of the devices, right? As she also told about the IoT, where everything is connected with the internet. And when we are applying, when we are just providing services at a very crowded place, users were not able to get the high throughput or high data rate. So at a very crowded place also it was not working. And when we are going towards the online gaming, there also it is very much high data speed is required. And now everything we want to make it as an automotive, so and want to make it controlled by the internet. So this 4G cellular technology was not adaptable to that. So that's why there was the need towards the 5G communication or 5G generation. So if we will just see how evolution is happening, in the 1980, 1G started, and after one, we can see the dotted portion is for the research, because obviously in the starting we are doing research for every technology. Specifications are given, then we are just making the prototypes, and then we are, yes sir?
Your slides are not moving, Poonam.
Okay, but I'm changing those, sir.
No, but the screen is not showing them.
Okay, so let me again share my screen.
Yes.
Now it's
Yes.
moving, sir?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So in the, as I told you, that for the 5G to extremely enhance the data rate, we are moving toward the 5G. And these are the timeline, how we are going from first generation to fifth generation. So if you will see the dotted line here, that is time duration for the research and standardization, right? Because in the starting, this is the first step to make the specification, to set the standard for the generation. So what is done in this duration? And in the 1990, we were able to commercialize use of the 1G got started. So similarly for the 2G, it started in the 2000. And these are the technologies GSM, GPRS, H, as I discussed in the 2G generation. Similarly, 3G means the main thing you can see here that we are just enhancing with the technology, how we can utilize our resources, how efficiently our instrument we can make. So like this, we are just want to utilize our resources as much as efficiently possible, right? So in the 2020, we are using now 4G, but we have started the research for the 5G from the 2010 itself. And now we were just assuming that in 2020, 5G deployment will started, and even in real scenario, it has been started in some countries like Norway, Sweden, Japan. So it has been started there. And similarly, in India also, we are working at a great level for the 5G. And now in the next slide, we will discuss, you can see here the comparison of all the generation in terms of the data rate. Means where 1G was able to give just 2 kbps, 2G 64 kbps, and in the 3G 144 kbps, 100 mbps, or 10 mbps we will say, because these are the peak data rate which a technology can provide. But at a user level, we are just getting about the 10 mbps. And if we are talking about 5G, we just want to achieve the 1 gbps per second, right? So these are some technologies. In LTE, we were using the OFDM, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. And in 5G, we are trying to use OFDM, but here we are getting the different frequency bands. We are moving towards the millimeter waves. So how we are doing the carrier aggregation, how we are transmitting our signals on the spectrum, that is completely changed. Or we can say we are optimizing that to make the use of spectrum very efficiently. So this is the, and another thing is massive MIMO. So what is the use of massive MIMO? in the starting, what was happening, that when we were talking about a cellular tower, no, it was transmitting the signal in all directions, right? But means, for example, it is transmitting information to one user, it is at a place, but tower is transmitting information in every direction. So a lot of transmission power is getting wasted. But now through using the massive MIMO, we are working on the beam forming, right? So that's why lots of antenna is required, and it will just focus to the particular user direction. So that will happen with that, and we can save the power also at a very high level through this. And what does this mean? 1000 times bandwidth, because we are moving on the millimeter waves, new spectrum we are getting. So we are having the large bandwidth in our pocket to use for the 5G, right? So okay, that is fine that we are defining about all our generations, but who set the criteria for these all generations, right? So there is a standardized body, that is International Telecommunication Union. It was established in 1865. That is a body of UN agency, and it worked for the spectrum harmonizations throughout the world, means which spectrum where can be used, and it defines the generation, means specifications for the generation, you can say, right? Standard for the generations, but what is the requirement for the next time? So it is defining that. So we can see here that 3G, its technical name is the IMT 2000, right? And for 4G, we are saying it IMT advanced, and for 5G, we are saying it IMT 2020, because it was assumed that till 2020, we were able to develop or deploy the 5G technology. So that's why it is given here like this. And after every 10th, or we can 10 years, or after a decade, we are just moving towards our next goals, we can say, towards our connectivity of the internet and services what we want to provide. And whatever specifications it is setting, then ITU is organizing a conference, that is worldwide radio communication conference. In this conference, all countries will participate, and then they will check their specification, and then they will sign, okay, we are agree for this specification and we are going to work for that, right? So like this here, all the industries also, wireless companies will participate in the conference, and they will check all the specification, and then they will be agree with these specifications. So there are some, for example, for 5G, they have some, they are defined some key performance indicators or requirements for the different user scenario. Means indoor, what is the requirement? Outdoor, means when user is outdoor in open environment, what is the requirement? So these specification will be set by the ITU. So for example, peak spectral efficiency, user experience data rate, average spectral efficiency. So these are some performance parameters, or to check the user experience. So these performance indicators are there, and their values are defined here. So we can see here that this in IMT 2020 means 5G, we have doubled the peak spectral efficiency. We have set for the 3 times the user experience data rate, and every spectral efficiency also we have to improve the 3 times. So every spectral efficiency, what does it mean? Mean at a spectrum, how much data we can transmit in an average manner, because spectrum also we have to utilize very efficiently, no? So this was the main standards set by the ITU. So if we will see here, the mainly, because from here we will get the idea that what 5G means. Only if we will understand this slide, no, we will be able to make the difference between 4G and 5G. So if we talk about, this was the 4G and how these 5G requirements are there, and what we have to improve in our 4G so that we can achieve the target of 5G. So first one is the user experienced data rate, right? So in the starting, if we are getting 10 Mbps, now user should be able to get 100 Mbps all around at every point of space, or at every scenario, you can say. In the moving scenario also, at high mobility scenario also, and if it is even static, so that also, this should be the minimum speed, 100 Mbps. Then if we talk about the spectrum efficiency, as I told you, it should be increased 3 times. Means at a per hertz, if I'm able to send 1 bit in the 4G, now I should be able to 3 bit per hertz, right? So this is as an example. So spectrum efficiency we have to increase. Mobility means up to 4G, we were able to handle the mobility speed up to 350 km per hour. But now we are taking the example of bullet trains, like in Japan and in Chennai also now it's going to do. So mobility, with this high mobility also, we should be able to provide the seamless connectivity. So this should be the, this is target for the speed. Now if we talk about the latency, means in 4G, we can just take the example of latency, like 10 millisecond was the performance for the latency. But now we are going to decrease our latency up to 1 millisecond in the 5G. How it will be helpful? We will see in this diagram. What does it mean by latency? Now connection density means in the starting we were able to connect the 10 to the power 5 devices per kilometer area. Now in the same 1 kilometer area, we should be able to connect 10 to the power 6 devices. Means 10 times connect devices we have to increase. Network energy efficiency. As I told you that in the starting, the tower has to transmit the power in all the directions. Now through the beamforming towards a particular user which want to get the data, we can just direct the energy in that direction, and that's why we will be able to save the network. We will be able to enhance the network energy efficiency also. And then area traffic capacity. Area traffic capacity means megabits per second per meter square, because we have to deploy the tower at a after a distance we have to deploy again a tower, means it is so that one tower can provide a coverage area to a certain area, it can provide the coverage, right? So that's why based on that tower, how much users can get connected with that tower. So based on that, we are defining the area traffic capacity, means how many megabits per second per meter square the data rate it can provide. And peak data rate should go to the 20 Gbps. Right? So this would the all means we are enhancing from 4G to 5G with all these performance parameters: spectral efficiency, user experience, data rate, mobility, latency, connection density. So in all these parameters, we have to enhance our technology. So now if you will see here, and you will divide the user case of 5G, we have the 3 user case mainly. First one is enhanced mobile broadband connectivity, we can say, where we have to work on the spectral efficiency, means green color is there, no? So this parameter will mainly focus here for this use case. Spectral efficiency, user experienced data rate, packet peak data rate, area traffic capacity, and energy efficiency. So these will be able, because we have to enhance the mobile broadband connectivity throughout the world. So this will be the main parameter for this use case. Another use case is ultra reliable low latency communication. Low latency communication. Now I want to give you one example. See, means we are taking the example of healthcare, where a doctor at very far place want to treat or want to operate one patient at another place. And if it is just controlling his instrument from at a far place, and it is giving direction through the internet, and even if a millisecond delay is there, so it can harm a lot. So that's why in those scenarios, particularly in those scenarios, latency is very important factor. So that's why we have to reduce the latency. We are talking about the industry control, right? Industry operation, where we have to control all the instrument of industry from a far place through the internet. So there also, latency is a very big hurdle, means we have to keep the latency as minimum as possible. So that's why in the 4G it was 10 millisecond, and here now we want to decrease latency up to 1 millisecond. Paul sir was talking about the driverless vehicles, right? So in that also, if there will be delay of even 1 millisecond, accident can happen. All the cars will be connected through the internet, and they are getting the directions from the internet itself. So there are the parameters where this latency and mobility is play important role. Now another thing is massive machine type communication. What is the IoT? We are listening about IoT. So this is the thing. Means in the smart city, in the smart home, where we want to connect all the devices with the internet. So here what comes? Connection density. Means in a particular area, how many devices we can connect with the internet, right? Here, so that's why, if you will say, no, in these factors we are working. So that's why ultra reliable low latency communication is main part of 5G. Massive machine type communication is also part of 5G. It was not in the 4G. So these are the main advantages of the 5G here. And obviously for the enhancement of the user experience, we are enhancing the data rate. We are enhancing the coverage so that seamless connectivity we can provide. So all these applications are there in the 5G only. And obviously we have to enhance the energy efficiency. We have to utilize our energy also as efficiently as possible. So these are the performance parameters, and based on these performance parameters, we are providing these different user cases, right? So to achieve that, what we are doing and what features we are making in our new technologies. So this is the main thing where research is going on, where the test bed we are making, so how to implement and how to get these data rate, this seamless connectivity. So we are working on that, right? So as I told you that for the 5G use case, we have divided into 3 parts: enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency communication, massive machine type communication. That is the main feature of 5G only, right? So here in these applications are there, lots of applications are there. Means we want to watch the video, cloud gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality, enhancement, mobile media, mobile home, broadband TV. We are getting now also, but we want to just enhance our experience, user experience, by providing the high data speed, right? In car operation, wireless, and when we are talking about the ultra reliable, so industry automation, remote manufacturing or surgery, self-driving vehicles, ultra reliable applications. So for this, latency is a very important parameter. Then massive machine type communication, like smart homes, buildings, factories, where all the devices are connected with the internet, utilities, smart agricultures, again where the agriculture machines also are driven by the internet, logistics, smart city. Because when we are talking about the smart city, what does it mean? That in the city, every device is connected through the internet and we can transmit information. As it was discussed, that to decrease the criminal crime rate also, right? So when everything will be connected with the internet, so we can pass the information in very short duration. So that will be helpful in that scenario also. Okay, so when I was talking about the 3GPP, so to implement the standard given by the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, there is this body 3GPP. Actually, it was made up for the third generation, but it is also playing important role in the 5G and 4G and 5G also. So this is providing the release of the specification, like release 15, 16. Now up to 16 it has come. In the next year, like in 2020, release 17 is coming. So it is providing the specification. So here if you will see in the release 15, it was just focusing that what frequency range we gonna use. As Paul sir was telling that 5G can be very harmful it can be cancerous, so these things can happen. So we have to just take care that now also we are using Wi-Fi, which is on the 5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. So when we are talking about the frequency range, up to release 15, we were using the up to sub 6 gigahertz, means lower than 6 gigahertz bandwidth. And then we were using up to the 24.2 gigahertz and 52.6 gigahertz. So up to here implementation has been done. But we are thinking up to 300 gigahertz towards the very high frequency range. So there can be really highly possibility of all these health issues. What is there in the mind, right? Because when we are going on the very high frequency, so obviously it can affect the human health. So all these specifications will be given, and then we are working according to the timeline for this standards to get implemented and to get researched, right? So I don't want to go in the deep detail of these technical things. So that's why I'm skipping this slide. So when we talk about the frequency range, see, when we just talk about the higher frequency range, what is the thing that high frequency can't propagate up to much distance. So cell size is decreasing a lot. This, if you will see that when we are in the below 1 gigahertz, the cellular size means one tower can serve up to the 2 kilometer range. If we are using the sub 1 gigahertz, means frequency lowered like 900 megahertz band we are using. So one tower can serve up to 2 kilometer range. But when we are moving towards the 3 gigahertz, so we can take example of our router, Wi-Fi. So it can serve our home area only, right? So as we are increasing the frequency, their coverage area is decreasing a lot. So that's why there is coming the norms of the macro cell, micro cell, femto cell, pico cells. So all these cellular structure, because we are studying about the generation of cellular generation, no? 1, 2, 3, 5G generation, cellular generation. So when we are increasing our frequency range, 1G, 3G, 300, 60 gigahertz, 90 gigahertz, our cellular coverage range is decreasing because high frequency can't propagate or can't tolerate the intermediate hindrance in between them. So they will get absorbed and they can't travel a distance. So that's why their coverage area will be very slow. So that's why massive deployment of the towers or small cells we have to do. Obviously, their height will be not as much of the big towers. Now we are watching for the 3G, 4G. They will be small towers, small size cells, right? So this we have to deploy. And this is our frequency bands. Because now, currently, we are using these bands, cellular bands around 900 megahertz up to 6 gigahertz. So these will be the 5G primary bands. And after that, what we are using? New bands like up to 60 gigahertz, 90 gigahertz, and we will go slowly towards the 300 gigahertz. So these are the complementary bands for capacity enhancement when we are talking about the 1 Gbps data rate, 10 Gbps data rate. So this data rate is possible only on the high frequency range. So as it is shown here that when we were using low frequency band, the cellular area was very high. For the micro, when we are moving toward 2.5 to 5 gigahertz, so it is just can cover up to the 100-meter area. And for the 5 gigahertz range, it can cover 10 sub-meter area. So cell size is decreasing a lot. So this is a very big challenge that we have to deploy lots of many small cells if we want to achieve this much coverage, seamless coverage. So this is the main thing here. So again, if we want to discuss the applications or use cases of the 5G, so interaction between human and IoT means where all the Internet of Things, means all the devices are connected with the internet and we want to control those devices through human interference. So we can control through the internet. Critical control or remote devices, right? So remotely, if we want to operate the devices, again, 5G will be used. Media everywhere. If we want to get the media, if you want to watch the movies or you want to watch the videos, because now it is very helpful for student. After the corona, you can see, sir, means everything was blocked. But now with the help of this internet only, we were able to attend the classes. Everything was continuing. So it is really very helpful. So similarly, smart cities and vehicle transport for the automation of vehicles and broadband experience every time, everywhere, and at very crowded place also. So all these things are happening with the 5G, right? So again, it should be able to serve the ultra dense crowd, massive connectivity, ultra reliable. So these are all the applications of the 5G, which was not in the 4G. Okay, so again, this is one application slide, somewhat similar to remote control processes, right? So now I want to talk about what we are doing as a country for the 5G research, right? So there was a 5G test bed, what was totally developed and totally deployed in the India itself. by the Indian institutes. And the main reason was behind this project was that we want to create an infrastructure for implementing the entire 5G network. Means we are not getting any component from outside. We are making every component for the 5G in India itself. So, and we want to participate because as we are the part of 3GPP, India as a country, we are the participant of the 3GPP, third generation partnership project, where all the countries are the part of that group. So we also want to make some contribution towards the 5G. So why digital connectivity programs, Make in India, Startup India, that was the government main initiative, building 5G ecosystem. So in our country, we want to create the ecosystem for 5G deployment. So this project was mainly proposed by the Dr. Arugya Swami Polraz. So this is a very, very famous personality. This is Polraz sir was served Indian Navy for 22 years, and he worked he did his PhD from IIT Delhi. Then he served Stanford University as a professor, and he proposed this project because he is the inventor of massive MIMO also, sir. Because 5G now using MIMO all around the world, and Polraz sir was inventor of the MIMO. He has patent for this technology also. So he proposed this project to the government. Then Department of Technology Telecommunication funded 240 crore rupees to our institute, and this was a 3-year duration project, what was started in the 2018, and in October 2021 it's gonna complete. Its deadline was April 2021, but due to some COVID reason, now in October end, it will be open to use as a prototype, right? So in this collaborating institutes were IIT Bombay, Hyderabad, IIT Madras, Delhi, IIT Kanpur, and IIC Bangalore, Center of Excellence in Wireless Technology, and this is for advanced microwave electronics engineering. Means it is mainly focusing on the electromagnetic radiations, and it is working on the hardware component of the massive MIMO. So these were some tasks divided between these institutes, and they have completed this project here. And mainly 40 investigators, means 40 professors of the IITs working in these 8 institutes. And similarly, this is funded project, researchers are working. So main reason was for this project was that to make our students, research students, and our people here in India to be familiar with the technology, is to employ or deploy everything in India itself. So that's why this project was there. And major goals of 5G Testbed was that to increase telecom product startup in India. So we want to try to produce the product what is used for the 5G technology in India itself, so that there will be no need to import those things. New startups will be it will be helpful for new startups also. Multiply R&D capability to develop 5G based solution in India market, right? So increase India participation in global forums like 3GPP and ITU and IEEE. So this was also the main reason of this project. So actually we are talking about all these things, but there are challenges also to deploy this 5G technology here, because there are many new things we are doing, and that is done first time all over the world. Like integrated millimeter waves radio, means this is the first time we are using the millimeter waves for the communication purpose. What will be their effect? As in the starting itself, Polraz sir were telling that how it will affect the human health. Till now, it's not has been investigated much. So to use these millimeter waves, we have to use the massive MIMO subsystem, where very small height antenna will be there, and we will be able to work on the beamforming. So all these things are developed here in India in these labs. What are the contributing partners of this project, right? Then completely new baseband unit for the 5G towers, protocol stack completely, because in the computer network, that is a 7-layer protocol unit. So all the protocol specifications are given by 3GPP, and we have to develop software for that. And the 5G core network also, we are deploying, means everything at a one bench we are trying to deploy here. And here, Cloud RAN, Internet of Things, security also will be a major issue, because when we are connecting these many massive devices with each other, so there is a high responsibility for their security also. So this also will be a very big parameter to tackle here. Then software-defined network for function virtualization architecture. These are also new challenges to address, because these techniques are there. Software-defined network and network for function virtualization. What they are doing, they are just enhancing means there is no need to deploy hardware for every function. We are generating a general purpose system, and inside that we can create any network function. So this is a different technology to enhance the capacity of the system. So this will be complete test bed here, where we are using the towers on which massive MIMO antennas are there. These are UE, user equipment we can say. These are also, because their motherboard, their chips, etc., all are developed here. And then baseband unit, if we are talking about the towers, in the starting, this baseband and radio unit were combined. But after the 4G and 5G, we are having radio unit, means which is transmitting the information will be at the top of antenna, and baseband unit will be below the tower. So all the infrastructure, software, hardware, we have to work according to fulfill the specification and requirements of the 5G, right? So similarly, now we are moving on the 6G also, where if we are listening about SpaceX, right? So it is sending so many satellites in the space. So in the 6G, everything will be connected through the satellites. So that will be the next generation. To provide ultra fast internet access, and smart home, smart city. So satellite and unmanned aerial vehicle, drones will play important role in this. And 7G space roaming, means now we are having roaming, means one service provider from one cell to another cell. And seamless connectivity is there. So similarly in space also, we will provide world, means we will make the world completely wireless up to, and this is the target up to 2040. And here the main important thing is that when we are talking about 5G, where it is not so that we are just ignoring all the previous technology. So there are aggregators, means we are making the system like that. We can use LTE, GSM, Wi-Fi also along with our 5th generation technology. So devices will be manufactured accordingly. And later on, obviously, we can just completely move on the 5G, but at the current point, we are just combining the previous technology in our instrument, and then we are using the 5G. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much. If you want to ask any question, you are most welcome.
Yes, Poonam, thank you very much for a very illuminating talk. And I have a few questions that people have asked.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, how does 5G affect society?
How does 5G affect society? Sir.
Okay, we can move on to the next one. How does 5G affect the economy of a country?
Sir, if we talk about the economy, because I was just reading a report, and this 5G is gonna very huge market, because everything will be all the products will be new. So if we will be implementing all the product inside the India, so it will be very helpful for us. But if we have to export the equipment, then it will be heavy for us.
Okay, how long will it take for India to be 5G everywhere?
Sir, up to 2025. Because now itself it is in the prototype stage, and testing is starting yet. So slowly we will be able to, but even though we can say that the deployment has not started fully in the India, I was talking about this project because now this also will be completed up to October end. And when commercialization will start, it's not finalized yet. But when we talk about the spectrum licensing, so it will start from the next year. So proper deployment, when it will happen, it will take, I think, next 2-3 years. From my point of view.
Yeah, okay. I have another question. Will 5G replace Wi-Fi?
No, sir. Wi-Fi, actually, what we will see here, that in our house, what we are using, Wi-Fi we are using, but that is using a different frequency band, right? 2.5 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So slowly, if we are able to get the small cells, when we are talking about the femto cells, so maybe this condition that we are using the very high millimeter waves, and they will provide very high data rate. So in that cases, obviously we can change Wi-Fi by the 5G for the high frequency bands.
Another question is, will 5G help with reception of communication, reception of voice?
Reception of voice, obviously, sir. Because we are increasing the data rate, data speed. But now also, when we're talking about the voice, there is a frequency range in the voice signal. No? Means voice signal can be up to 4 kilohertz. So accordingly, that much bandwidth is required for us up to 8 kilohertz. And data rate is very high. So now in current scenario also, we are having very good voice quality.
You know, now in the media also, when you are listening to the news channels, when the anchor asks a question, it takes a little time for the person who has to respond to understand the question and then come back. Will this latency, how much will this latency?
This latency was a very big parameter that I was talking, no? That we have to reduce the latency from 10 millisecond to 1 millisecond, and then this effect will go away in 5G, for sure.
Do we really need 5G?
Yes, sir. These many applications I told you that as a IoT and smart home, smart city, if you want to give edge to our life, so that's why there is the need of 5G. Automotive industry operations are there, and to control the industry remotely, to control our appliances remotely, and so that's why there is the need of 5G.
The countries that have already switched on or moved across to 5G, what is the experience that they are having as opposed to countries that have not moved over to 5G?
Sir, I have not gone through about the experiences what they are having. So,
okay.
Hi, Dr. Saab, I have one question to ask.
Sure, sir.
With this, we are bulk of the very high percentage of people are holding these mobile phones with them right now. In India, also, it's close to 75 or 80% of the population is holding these.
Right, sir.
A bulk of the handsets that we have are 4G. When the 5G comes into place, will the handset have to be changed?
Yes, sir. It will be
That
changed.
means it's a win-win situation for the companies who are manufacturing the handsets and also the packaging industry, because every handset is going to be packaged. It's a big economic boost for them.
Right, sir. Right. Because when we have to go for the new technology, obviously there will be changes in the equipments also, user equipments also. And that you are talking only about the mobile phones, but the consumer premises equipments also, like what we are having on the home itself, like routers, our routers we are having. So these devices also will be changed completely. So you are right in that case.
Thank you.
I have a report that sort of from the United States. They say direct spending on capital and labor, we estimate that 5G deployment will contribute $400 billion to $500 billion to the United States GDP and create up to 800,000 jobs to 1 million jobs from 2020 to 2030. The direct impact represents about 30% of the total value potential from 5G. So, you know, if this is just 30%, 100% would be just explosive in nature for the society.
Right, sir, because if you will see, as I told you, that when we have to deploy these small cells, no pico cells, so we have to deploy them in a very, what we say that in a very massive manner, like in the very small distances, we have to deploy these pico cells. So to deploy these many small cells in there's many large area, obviously large labor is required. So these reports is going in this way that for the deployment of 5G, it's gonna take huge labor and it will obviously affect the society.
Will there be a change in skill set requirement? Will there be a change in skill set requirement of the people who work in the telecom industry now and when 5G comes in?
Sir, here what I want to say that when we are deploying these things, no, that when we are making the specification software for these products, so totally specification is there, and we have to deploy and we have to develop the software according to that manner. So skill set is what we are using as a 5G, and as a like protocol developer we are talking, and tester we are saying. So obviously new skill set, what we can say that what we are using now, so little increment will be required, means new scenario, new frequency range will be there. So how to tackle those things, that will be new skills we have to learn.
Dr. Lohan, thank you very much for answering these questions. And I now hand over the proceedings back to the President to.
It was my pleasure to join with you. It was really nice.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Han.
Thank you so much.
And without going into the details, technical details, the enhanced mobile broadband, then unreliable low latency, and also the practical uses to which this is put. This is a main thesis in the end you have said about the 5G. I have some misgivings, but I think with the passage of time, that may get clarified. ITU at the moment is mostly concerned with harmonization of the various spectrums and various countries. It has no legal powers. There can be some misuses by some players, and therefore, again, the legal powers will have to come into play. It is just a sort of advising or a harmonizing agency, A. Second is that the spectrum allocation, very important it is that at the moment for India, the spectrum allocation is purely confined to the government. At one time, it was given to one group, and still the case is going in the court at Hague's International Court, by why it was given to a private player, the spectrum allocation. So this will cause a lot of problem as to how the allocation is there and whether it's going to interfere with spectrum allocation or not. The other dynamic issue which I feel is that as far as I am concerned already I am in a space roaming condition after listening to you. And when you say 7G will bring you almost into mental space roaming condition, I think the gravitation of the human body's weight will be totally lost, and you will only moving in the space with the brains, your brain network and brain thinking. The next point which I like to mention is about the adverse effect. You know that a lot of research is still going on. WHO is still researching. Of course, the low risk they have already indicated, but the high risk they have not yet have any evidence. ISAM also is doing that, but they have said no, group B risk is there, not group A. The apprehensions are that WHO researches may not get delayed by certain interested pressure group, as it always happens in the case of these very, very big multimillionaire, and it may cause a risk to the health. These are some of the questions which arise in my mind. And with these words, I thank you very much for a very, very illustrative also and very, very effective presentation. Thank you, Dr. Ram. We people like me have benefited. Those who are already known and knowing something about 4G, 3G, they must have been benefited immensely. Our next, again, interactive session is on the radiation from the communication towers, a health hazard. This is again an environmental problem, and we are going to discuss it on 22nd October, again 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And Dr. Anupam Tyagi, a well-known person who knows very about what is communication towers are, whether they are adversely affecting the environment, whether they are necessary, how much spacing has to be there, all these things will be discussed by him. I'll request all the delegates present here to join us at this particular understand and be understood session. One more point to emphasize, which the moderator or the chairman has already, we are also going to start, as he told you, a series of webinars on defense and homeland security. This will almost once a month initially, and probably we may increase it to 2. This is going to be very, very important topical subjects on the homeland security as well as defense. Please be with us, support us, join us, and encourage us. Thank you very much, everyone who is present there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lohan. Very kind of you to be here with us.
Thank you. It's all my pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Dr. Poonam, thanks very much. It's very, very illuminating, and we got to know a lot about 5G. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.